This land has no great rivers, no vast oceans, and no abundant resources. And yet, it became the spiritual heart of half the world. That's not an accident. It's a story written in stone, in salt, and in the silence of the desert itself. And every layer of that story is still there, waiting for anyone who knows how to look. Jerusalem, where heaven brushes earth. Jerusalem is small enough to walk across in a few hours. Yet the weight of memory here would take a lifetime to absorb. This is where earth and heaven brush against each other, where whispered prayers echo alongside church bells, and where three great faiths trace their steps back to the very same ground. The old city holds four quarters: Jewish, Christian, Muslim, and Armenian. These communities are intertwined like blood vessels in a single sacred heart. For the Jewish people, Jerusalem is where King Solomon built the first temple, until the Babylonians destroyed it around 586 BCE. All that's left is a portion of the Western Wall, where visitors whisper prayers and tuck hopes between the stones like letters to the heavens. For Christians, Jerusalem is alive with the footsteps of the faithful, because Jesus carried his cross along the Via Dolorosa to Golgotha, where he was crucified. Inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, millions of pilgrims bow before the stone of anointing. The air inside seems to grow still every time someone kneels. For Muslims, Jerusalem is where the Prophet Muhammad was carried by an angel into the heavens from a sacred rock on the Temple Mount. Muslims built the Dome of the Rock to honor this moment, and you can see its golden dome from nearly every corner of the Old City. The Mount of Olives lies not far from the Old City, where more than 150,000 people rest, all buried facing Jerusalem in silent proof that they will rise again. Christians link the mountain with the Garden of Gethsemane, and Muslims believe it's the place of the Last Judgment. Three faiths share one mountain, and the silence there speaks louder than any sermon ever could. Bethlehem and the living desert. But Jerusalem is only the beginning. Travel just south, and the desert opens up with secrets even older than the city walls. At the heart of modern Bethlehem stands the Church of the Nativity, built in the 4th century by order of Emperor Constantine. Beneath the main altar lies a silver star that marks the exact spot where Christ was born. Each year, hundreds of thousands of pilgrims gather here to commemorate the very first Christmas night. But Bethlehem is also shaped by a towering concrete wall more than 8 meters high, cutting through streets and separating land and people. Amidst the cold gray slabs, art becomes a voice of resistance. The street artist Banksy has transformed these walls into a canvas, reminding us that even in times of war, people can still dream of freedom. Jericho sits not far from there, the oldest continuously inhabited city in the world, with over 10,000 years of recorded settlement. Natural springs made Jericho an oasis in the desert, and that water allowed it to flourish as the cradle of ancient agriculture. Tucked into the cliffs of the rugged wilderness, Mar Saba Monastery rises like a fortress carved into stone. Founded in the 5th century by the monk Sabas, it has upheld a life of strict seclusion for more than 15 centuries. Women aren't allowed to enter and can only gaze upon it from a nearby hilltop. Even under the scorching sun, nature here writes extraordinary stories of survival. On the steep cliffs, the Nubian ibex climbs effortlessly with curved horns and hooves that seem to grip stone as if walking on flat ground. Meanwhile, The peregrine falcon, the fastest animal on Earth, dives like a lightning bolt at speeds over 300 kilometers per hour. All these creatures prove that life never gives up, not even in the desert. The Dead Sea, history at the lowest point. This is the lowest point on Earth. The Dead Sea sits 430 meters below sea level between the borders of Israel, Palestine, and Jordan. Its salt concentration is more than 10 times that of regular seawater. No fish, no plants, and no living organism can survive here. Yet this place is anything but lifeless. Its high mineral content lets the human body float effortlessly on the surface. As early as the time of Cleopatra, its black mud and mineral salts were prized for beauty treatments and relief from joint pain. However, nature isn't immortal. Since the 1960s, the Jordan River has been heavily exploited, and the water level has dropped by more than a meter per year. Thousands of sinkholes have swallowed roads and buildings along the shoreline. Near Qumran, a young shepherd made a world-changing discovery in 1947. He found ancient scrolls inside clay jars. These are the Dead Sea Scrolls, over 900 manuscripts dating back more than 2,000 years. They include texts like Genesis and Isaiah, and they provide a window into the spiritual world of the Second Temple period, the era in which Jesus lived. Perched atop a remote plateau on the edge of the Judean desert, Masada is more than just an ancient military fortress. It's a powerful symbol of resistance and the unyielding desire for freedom. Originally built in the late 1st century BCE by King Herod the Great, the fortress featured a defense system that made it nearly impossible to conquer. But what etched Masada into the memory of the Jewish people was the event that unfolded there in the year 73 CE. After the fall of Jerusalem, during the Jewish revolt against Rome, nearly 1,000 Jewish rebels retreated to Masada as their last refuge. Surrounded and facing inevitable defeat, they chose mass suicide over slavery. According to the historian Flavius Josephus, their final act declared that freedom was worth more than life itself. Today, Masada is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Every stone and every stairway still seems to echo with the defiance of a people who held on to dignity even in despair. The Negev, a crater carved by time. In the harsh, arid Negev desert in southern Israel, a striking spectacle emerges so surreal it feels like stepping into another world. This is Maktesh Ramon, a colossal crescent-shaped erosion crater stretching over 40 kilometers long and 10 kilometers wide, with towering cliffs and surfaces painted in deep reds, burnt oranges, golden yellows, and charcoal blacks. It's not a volcanic crater, nor the result of a meteorite impact. In reality, it's a Maktesh, a rare geological formation found only in the Negev and a few other places around the world. Over millions of years, erosion by wind, water, and tectonic activity wore away the center of a mountain range, leaving behind this vast, sunken valley. For geologists, Maktesh Ramon is a natural laboratory for studying the evolution of the Earth's crust, because each exposed layer of rock reveals ancient stories of prehistoric seas that once covered this region. But beyond its scientific value, Maktesh Ramon provides a deeply spiritual experience. In its overwhelming vastness, one feels humbled, dwarfed by nature's raw, silent grandeur. By night, it becomes one of the best stargazing sites in the Middle East. No city lights interfere. Only the Milky Way stretches in full silence above a crater millions of years old. Maktesh Ramon proves that nature, with patience and time, can craft wonders without ever needing human intervention. The land remembers. It's a place where faith, memory, and humanity have intertwined for thousands of years. The stones don't choose sides. They hold the prayers of everyone who ever touched them. Every mountain, every desert cliff, and every salt flat carries the same layers from Canaanite, Roman, Byzantine, and Ottoman times. These layers belong to everyone here. The land remembers what people forget. Subscribe, and we'll keep uncovering the stories the earth still holds.